Kimani Wamatangi, and Boni Halwale, senator from Kakamega County, whose title I think has changed, or you've added something. Now you're CBS. You received the Presidential Award for First-Class Chief of the Order of the Burning Spear recently. Were you there to receive it?
I was busy elsewhere.
Well, it is gazetted, so you can say Senator Boni Halwale, CBS. Officially, CBS. Yeah. Congratulations are in order.
Thank you.
Yes.
Congratulations, because you have made an impact so much so that it cannot be ignored.
Yes, indeed. The president also awarded the ODM chairman John Badi with the same CBS award medal, and I think Janet Ongera as well from ODM with the same CBS medal. But there's a headline on the front page of the Standard, if I could have this, and governors are complaining down here. Governors ask Uhuru why they were removed from the medal list. And 42 governors apparently have been shortlisted, but they did not make it to the State House. They were, because these awards were being handed out on Jamhuri Day. They received communication a day before being told not to travel to Nairobi because they were no longer going to be awarded that. And the story down here on the front page of the Standard reads, governors ask Uhuru why they were removed from a medals list.
I think it's because they are corrupt.
All of them?
Quite a number.
Quite a number.
Yeah,
yes.
they are corrupt.
Well, and it
they need
to be investigated.
And it's not everybody who really was on the list that made it to the final list. There were so many names, actually, even from Parliament. There were several members, even senators were there. Okay. And they never found their way. And that's why I think senators like Boni Halwale, and especially coming from ODM, Janet Ongera, Mbandi, the chairperson of ODM, with the narrative that they've had a long time, you know, saying that the president does not show bipartisanism, bipartisan politics or awards. He should start by congratulating him that, that amongst even those governors that were dishonored, that the president saw the work that he's been doing and said he's worth the commendation and gave him the commendation. Yes, I think you should praise. You should be thankful.
No, I know why. The medal came from the president. The president is from Jubilee. He is fearful. His opponents out there with twists, and show this guy is gravitating to the government. I don't know. He's but he's been with us before.
By the president against you politically.
Okay, give me a chance to say something.
Yeah, sure.
I'll say. If it was in the old Kano days, then this would have been perceived to be a special gift from the president. But the current structure of Kenyans being awarded state recommendation is structured like for purposes of the Council of Governors, for purposes of Parliament. We have committees that look upon their own membership and decide to recommend to the president that these people are deserving.
Yes.
Once it has reached the president, then the president has got the prerogative to either go ahead and award or disagree with them. What members don't know is that I have been recommended. This was my second time I was being recommended for this commendation
by Parliament.
By Parliament. Yes. But the first time I was recommended, the president Mudama and I, we didn't make the list. But this year, we've made it. So
how come you were not available at State House to receive it?
Because I was in Kakamega doing Jamhuri Day.
But it is an award that you appreciate receiving it.
Yes, I appreciate, and the arrangement is that for those of us who are not there, there will be a small ceremony, a different ceremony.
I'll be glad to be there when Halwale is receiving it. House, you know, you've been disparaging this house and the president.
When I was in the Kent State House, all my colleagues received this medal apart from me. I've wondered today what criteria was. You know, everybody got this little thing.
Yes.
I was the only one. I was like, what are they trying to tell me?
Okay.
But anyway, that is an allied title.
Congratulations are in order.
But Iruma has a pertinent point.
Yes.
There are people there who still really need your say. They might spin it against Khalwale. Yeah, but these state commendations or these medals, whatever they're called, must be viewed from the objective prism of service. Yes. In fact, for me, I commended the guys because of the service orientation that all of them have demonstrated. Governors from Jubilee, governors from Code, there were the few who received, Kenyans who I think came from various walks of life, who I think demonstrably. I personally, if I was to use any objective criteria, Khalwale is definitely a candidate who qualifies to be awarded this medal, notwithstanding which regime is in power.
Okay, so it's actually in order to refer to Senator Boni Khalwale, CBS. Congratulations, Senator.
Not forgetting the other titles I have.
Daktari,
academic and otherwise.
Okay. But these are state So governors want State House. Meanwhile, governors want State House to explain why they were omitted from the list of state awards despite being nominated. Some 42 county bosses had been nominated for the prestigious Elder of the Golden Heart Award. Yeah, that's EGH, which is higher than the CBS, I understand. Their names were struck out in unclear circumstances. That State House confirmed that no governor made it to the final list of those to be honored. But surely these are it's an award given. I think there's merit. They use merit to hand out these awards. So surely, do the governors have anything to complain about? Is there something you actually say, I should actually have received it?
No, well, first and foremost, these were mere nominations. And nominations are nominations, meaning there is the last resort process whereupon the president makes the final decision. So as to why they are complaining, I don't see the rationale. Number two, we all know quite a majority of our counties are bedeviled by the graft problem, and they are still it is something they are still grappling with, and it will be a slap it will be a slap on the face of Kenyans for us to award people who are still under investigation of various corruption.
Do you see it as an indictment to the devolution, as in we're just seeing like nothing has worked in terms of devolution on all the governors?
First and foremost, this is the Malay with Kenya's political class generally. They have this culture of entitlement that is very pervasive. You know, they think they're entitled to anything and everything. Whether we like it or not, we need to also have a conversation with ourselves as the politicians of this country to realize that this country does not start and begin with and stop with us. That if you don't get ahead of the commendations, hard luck. So I think what happens is for them to demonstrate that they're annoyed about something is petty. It's fairly petty. When it's like you can't complain for not winning an award. I was nominated the other day as one of the integrity champions of 2016 by the National Integrity Alliance, which brings together the ISPAC, Kenya Human Rights Commission, Kenya NCC, many major organizations that have credibility. Just the nomination itself was good on the basis that there was consideration that you represent something.
You don't have
so finally, if you don't make it, and the people who won were people from grassroots organizations who the kinds of challenges they do face to bring graphs to fore at that level down there in terms of victimization. They lack the profile to do it, but yet do it notwithstanding. So I think Kenyans need to look at, and let me tell you, and this is what annoys me sometimes even with some of our leadership. The standards we use to say devolution is working are so low. So low. We're not looking at how devolution has been internalized vis-a-vis Article 174, whether we are really focusing on the small issues in terms of bringing dignity to the lives of our people. We're looking at devolution and saying, oh, at least now we have a few boreholes. With a picture of the governor elaborately put there. At least we've built a bit more tarmac road. I think we needed to look at devolution holistically, in the sense that what was devolution expected to be, so that we evaluate devolution relative to Article 174.
Senator Wamatangi, surely there's some governors who probably deserved a commendation by the state.
Well, I think the point that the point Hassan was making is an important one. Let me tell you, personally, myself, I've been involved in community work for more than 12 years with my foundation, Wamatangi Foundation. And you've heard me say severally, I've donated more than 22,000 tanks in this country to poor people, schools, families. What I have a college that educates school dropouts, you know, and award them and for free, or rather, you know, and so on. And I've been recommended myself and put on that list twice. I remember sometimes in 2008, I think also in 2010, for the work I've done in the foundation. Finally, I still didn't make the final.
You're still waiting.
I'm still waiting, and so I don't think that that's really it's something that somebody must say that I must get it, no matter what you've done. But I think what they have to do is try harder.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, make devolution work. I mean, clean up the.
Well, the senators have said it. Work harder, dear governors, and probably next year on Jamhuri Day, depending on who the president will be, you might just get that commendation.
No, maybe also maybe that's one of the reasons all of them had issues, because next Jamhuri Day most of them will not be there.
That's right. But the award does not really just recognize people who are in elected posts. It's anyone else who's done something.
If you're not recognized while you are governor, because that's where you had an opportunity and a platform to make an impact, it is likely that you will not be recognized when you are governor.
Now, because of time, let's move on to other headlines. A quick one, because we have quite a number of things that we need to look at, and the next 2-3 headlines we'll just need to rush through them. And one, of course, is on the top of the front page of the Daily Nation. Nurses call off 9-day strike after deal. Counties recognize union and offer enhanced allowances. Now, this is one of the things that governors could be blamed for, because they took too long, 9 days to actually come up with a deal, to actually convince the nurses that they could offer them enhanced allowances. And surely the kind of suffering that we've witnessed by normal Kenyans in just that 1 week, was it really necessary? Shouldn't governors have actually worked this out much earlier? Because the nurses have been complaining for months. It's not just, it didn't just come last week.
Well, personally, I do not want to blame any person. I don't want to blame the governors. I don't want to blame the nurses. The reason being, first and foremost, there was some form of confusion, in the sense that there was a 2013 deal between the government and the medics, and which was signed by the national government. But
that's a separate one. That's for the doctors. The CBA you're talking about is for the doctors. This one is for the nurses.
Yes, for this one, probably I would seem to also see there's no need for us to blame the governors, because you see, it entails some monetary considerations on one hand. So you need to sit down with people and discuss where you are going to get this money. Again, they depend with the capitation from the national government, so that takes some time. But on the other hand, I belong to the school of thought that we do not pay our nurses properly. That when you look at the kind of work they do, when you look at how well they are paid in other jurisdictions, it makes all the sense for us to enhance the payment. So to that extent, yes, you can blame them. And also, I do know nurses have been experiencing some other forms of oppression from the county governments. One, statutory deductions, they have not been remitted by several counties, and also delayed payments of their salaries. So to that extent, one can really blame the governors that indeed they have not been doing justice to the health workers.
Yes, Senator Omar. Do you feel that governors would have done something
much earlier, much faster? Yes. Yeah, definitely, yes. I think what happens is when a strike is legal, it means that there was adequate strike notice. That notice period is intended that you engage in some kind of dialogue to avoid the possibility of that strike.
Does it allow strike by...
But in terms, when you give a notice, yes, it is lawful. Not law, the Constitution allows the right to collective bargain in the form of enhanced strikes and all that type of situations. So if they were illegal, then the courts will have in the first place banned them. So what happens, that period of notice is a period that all the interventions necessary need to be made. But what you see when these strike notices are issued, executive holders of office, both at national or county level, depending on who they are, will now issue threats. They will dismiss the whole idea, and until the matter gets out of hand, then they go and victimize a couple of people, and then ultimately end up doing what they should have done at the point of that notice. So I think these are some of the areas. I believe we need to look for better ways to handle industrial action in Kenya in a manner that is more credible and in a manner that averts suffering, because these strikes only usually affect public institutions. If it's the teachers, private schools are functional. Yes. If it's the doctors, private hospitals are functional. If it is any other institution, you will find that it usually affects the poor people. It's not the rich and those who access the private services that get affected.
And it should be noted that this was only part of the problem, the strike by the nurses. The doctors are still on strike. They still do not have a deal. They're the ones with that CBA that was signed in 2013. They're still demanding that it be implemented in full. And there's another headline that will be of interest to many people. On page 10 of the Standard, Kenyatta National Hospital shut down indefinitely after doctors joined nurses strike. Now the Kenyatta National Hospital will no longer be operational until a strike impasse is resolved. Approximately 300 doctors and consultants from both KNH and University of Nairobi yesterday downed their tools until all their demands are met by the government. You remember that KNH and the staff working for KNH are not under this KMDU and KNUN, and so they operate under a different union. Yeah. So now they've joined the strike. That means Kenyatta National Hospital will still have a problem, Dr.
Exactly. The fact that the courts found that the strike was legal, it means that the leadership of the nurses and the doctors gave sufficient time to the people who are supposed to have made a decision, namely the national government and the governors. So they refused to make that decision on time, and that's why they found themselves on the strike. I want to thank those nurses for finally going back, but I still believe the governors must be held responsible for the losses of life. That was completely unnecessary, because what they were doing that made the nurses go back, it is what they should have done the time the nurses gave notice for a strike. So they failed us. Ordinarily, if a dynamic guy like Omar Hassan was our president today, with a strong history on human rights, he would be recommending that some of these governors be charged with the crimes against humanity.
That's an endorsement for you to run for president in the near future.
He's a good young man.
But Senator Matangi, of course, we've seen other governors, like for example, the Bomet governor had actually struck a deal with the health workers in his county, and the problem was not as bad there. So surely some governors would have done better.
Let's remember a little bit of history, and this is how I view this problem. Remember when we started devolving functions to counties, and most of them were rolled out. When it came to health, the first thing that the medical fraternity did was they resisted. They refused to be devolved. Immediately they went to court and argued that they should not be devolved, and counties do not have the capacity to handle doctor and nurses issues. That matter went on protracted for quite a while. And then finally they lost the battle, and they had to be affixed to the counties. Since then, let's also remember what has been happening. In most counties, there has never been peace between the county government and medics. All along, there has been on and off strikes. Remember the problems that were there in Machakos, in Kiambu, all over. I mean, until and such a time that it almost became intolerable. The burst of the problem was only when the strike was now nationwide. And so the way I view it is that first, I think there has been failure across all the counties, and according to the Constitution. The Constitution says that it allows collaboration and cooperation between the two levels of government. And this is one such problem where both levels of government should have seen a problem that should have been addressed firsthand, differently. Because, I mean, this is a problem that's affecting the lives of our people.
The county government should also have done its bit much earlier as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and doing its bit in this sense, that even where they do not have the capacity or the capability, they should have also gone right down ahead and sought assistance first to see this is how this is looking like before it came to the all-out strike. And I think finally, because you've mentioned that some counties, like, and you mentioned Bomet, that they try to do some mending, to have some people on at work. I think that should have been done way before. Way before. It was possible to do it way before. And I think the loss of lives that Kenyans have had to endure all along, even right now, as you have said, even in Kenyatta. And I want to implore upon especially the Ministry of Health and government at large. We have to stem out this problem. I remember the other day, doctors from KDF had to come and assuage the scenario.
At Kenyatta.
We have to take extra steps because we cannot let people die.
At least now there's relief. At least now there's relief. Nurses are back to work. Doctors are still on strike, but nurses at least are back to work. We do hope that the doctors will join them back in hospitals to at least alleviate the suffering by members of the public. Now we need to take a short break and so that we come back and discuss a lot more headlines. Remember, Raila Odinga, the opposition leader, has challenged election financing rule, and the headline on the Daily Nation is that he has failed to comply with the 2017 polls. What does that mean to his aspirations of being president? And just to mention, as we
he
go,
has not failed.
as we go to, we will come back and discuss that, Senator. Just to mention as we go to the break, because I don't think we will revisit this issue. On page 3 of the Daily Nation, Joho graduates at Gretsa but skips ceremony. Mombasa Governor Ali Hassan Joho yesterday graduated with a bachelor's degree in commerce from Gretsa University in Thika. Mr. Joho, who did not attend the event, got a second-class honors lower division. Now, an earlier degree in business administration from Kampala University sparked controversy and was declared invalid by the Uganda National Council of Higher Education in 2014. That's a headline that you can read for yourself, but it's very interesting. I can hear Senator Hassan Omar chuckling here.
It is from which university?
Gretsa University. Let's now take a break for breakfast.
Where is it? Is it in Thika?
The second university in this country.
A very